Good to see you.
Thank you very much for having us. Thank you.
It's so good. I mean, I thought it might be because of the tracks I'd heard in the run up, but just put it on over the past few days, and it's just, oh man, it's the energy, it's the feel. I love that kind of driving indie sound, but as we all know, if you don't have the melodies to back that up, it gets tired very quickly. It's a killer record.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, man. That means a lot, really. Thank you. Yeah.
Sweated a lot over that and bled a lot and cried a lot. So it's a good feeling to know people are enjoying it.
You almost hear a live band off the record, which is rare these days, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is, unfortunately, a lot rarer than it should be. There's a song on the record called "Strange Time to Be Alive," but I think it was Ryan who said it's a strange time to be a rock band, and I think that's true. I think it's just, I think the popular music is driven by how much access there is to like music softwares and stuff. So back in the day, it's like playing in a band was all you could do, and I think now, because you can make albums on your laptop and stuff like that, it's just not as popular. Not as many kids doing it because it's more expensive to kind of get it started and get a guitar and get an amp and all that kind of thing. We just love this kind of music, and it is pop music, so we don't really know where to place it, to be honest.
I think Cheer Up Baby is probably the most commercial on the record, which you hopefully would have a lot more joy with. Do you reckon?
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, that song, I mean, it's got that classic rock structure, like verse, pre-chorus, break, chorus, and also it's just it's somewhat of a, I don't want to say the word, but I suppose anthemic pop tune, in a sense. But it's also one that's important to us because, our fans fell in love with that song very early on, and, they were asking for it for years and years and years. So the fact that that's actually out in the world, blows our mind just as much as having the album out in the first place, It
is mad, though, that we were writing all these really poppy tunes when we were like 16, 17, and they're still with us on the album.
Yeah, Rob said it yesterday, when we were talking about just the album coming out in like 4 hours or something, we were having a pint, and he was just like, man, it's bizarre that it won't always be like this, and Cheer Up Baby and My King Will Be Kinder on there, we wrote them when we were just nothing but stupid kids in a room. It was just like we were children, and they're on this record, and we were like, yeah, I know, it's a bit wild. Oh,
fantastic. And Josh, your guitar player is ace on it, man. I mean, you when I was saying about the live feel, you've captured that kind of live feel. Are you someone who kind of goes for it when it comes to riffs and solos? Are you very meticulous, or do you just feel it, as we were saying earlier there?
Yeah, I think that, thank you very much, first of all, but I think it's just from the feel, like everything that we put on this record, we figured out live, well, except for the new songs, of course, but we figured out with that intention of playing it live. So I really, that's where I love like making guitar lines and stuff like that, is to see how it will feel when we're on a stage and playing it through a massive sound system.
Sure, that's great. And what pleased me about it too, when I put the record on first, I thought, right, here it comes. These are really out the traps, these songs. And then there was that lovely moment when I thought, great, there's another side to Inhaler, which is that, that slide out the window, those sort of, and A Night on the Floor, the sort of slinky grooves going on as well.
Yeah, I think what was important for us to do on this album, originally it was going to feel like a bunch of kind of a compilation of singles, That's just the way we were recording. We were, I hear some buzzing on the mic there. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I hear that too. It'd probably go away, I hope.
Yeah. But, it was going to be a compilation of singles, and then the pandemic happened, and we were thrust into this bizarre scenario where we didn't even know if we were going to be a band anymore, and we couldn't test out our new songs live. You want that visual reaction, and people turn away and go to the toilet during a chorus. You generally should make the chorus a little better. And
that's so true.
Yeah, and like, we just pushed ourselves musically and made music that we enjoyed ourselves, and we didn't have the pressure of being on the road. It was we just really got to get stuck into making an album, and I think that's where that side came from, and I think it's a really, really important side to show off.
It was difficult for us to trust our instincts at the beginning, but it was difficult for us to really come to terms with or know for definite when a song was finished. But it got to a certain point with a few songs where it's like, if you can't go anywhere further that's making the song better than it already is, you kind of just have to accept, okay, this is how the song is, this is what it was made for, or made to sound like. And so, you know, we're so glad that we were able to reach all of those final destinations with each song and create the record that we did. And we're really happy with what the final outcome was. Maybe Final Destination is a bad way to put it, because that's a movie where everything goes horribly wrong.
It goes wrong. Yeah, I think it is maybe important in a way to have that kind of, not restriction, but slight constraint, I suppose, where you need some kind of deadline. If we look back and think that the Beatles made records in a matter of hours, you know, in an afternoon, because they had to. So it range in a bit.
Totally. And I think they were just good at making decisions. I think if you think back at, like, you know, the technology that they had then compared to now, and like the freedom that people have these days to do anything they want, make any sound they want, like at the touch of a button, and like sound any way you want, you know, like it's not like music has gotten remarkably better, I think, anyway. You know, I think the quality of some of those songs from the 60s and 70s will literally, they'll be studied for hundreds and hundreds of years. And I think limitations in some ways can be great. But look, I love a bit of studio magic myself.
That's how our producer always puts it every time we go back into the studio. He always says, we're in the market for magic, lads. And so that's the boost of enthusiasm and energy that we always strive for when we go back in.
It's those sounds, isn't it? It's the ear candy. You're not quite sure what you've heard, but you know it kind of works in among all the guitars. And I think as well, Josh, you know, like it was Anthony, a producer. The Pulp connection's interesting, but I thought the very interesting one was the Joe Strummer connection as well. And maybe was he pushing some energy when you were making the record as well?
Well, sure. I think I can speak for all of us when we say, like, Joe Strummer is like a guitar hero to every single one of us in the band at some stage in our lives. And just knowing that Ant worked with him and could feel his energy, like the amount of energy I'd say Ant pulled from that guy and is transferring to us, is like, we feel very lucky to have that, to be in the presence of that type of energy.
He's clearly an excellent producer.
Really?
Yeah, well, see, the great thing about our relationship with Ant is that he's more so the fifth member of Inhaler who just happens to be producing our record, rather than we kind of have blurred the artist producer relationship. He's just, to us, he's not only is he partially our manager, but he's also just a great friend to us as well. And he's helped us become not only better musicians and songwriters, but also just better people. So he's definitely a contact that we're very privileged to have.
And we just love that vibe of having fun in the studio. And it was our first experience of it, but it felt like it was the best that it could be. He had so many instruments around and stuff, and we were just bewildered. And so we brought the rest of the lads up, and he kind of, in a way, was our first manager, really, because he was the one who told us that we couldn't play.
To this day, that's the best advice or best thing that anyone's ever said to us, is just like, you're a bit horrible.
Yeah. Funny, another final compliment on the album, although you could probably listen to a few, I'm sure, was there was an album came out at a certain, when I name the album, I'm sure you're going to love it as well. And there was a real buzz about the debut, and I'm getting a similar buzz in terms of the record and in terms of the buzz about you guys. And that was the Killers' Hot Fuss. And we played that to death,
I mean, we were actually listening to that record. We were trying to size up the competition, listen to a lot of debut records. And I mean, what an album that is.
Yeah.
What a debut.
Yeah. It's frightening, isn't it? It really is.
Oh, it's really scary. Yeah.
Jenny was a friend of mine as the opening track. Oh, hello.
Sorry, my phone, my laptop died.
That's all right.
I'm gonna do the rest on my phone.
You must be feeling that confidence now as a band. I think it comes from playing for so long together and from such an early age as well. I presume it's four good mates just, loving music.
Chancing it. Four lads chancing it.
It's a great record, and be proud of it. You should be.
Thank you so much,
John.
Been a pleasure.
Take care, lads. Absolute pleasure.
Cheers, John.